Before we had this program in our hospital, when I would get ready to do my AD or my MDS, I would talk with my wound nurse, and she would fill out her weekly report. She sees the residents here every day, but she only types up a report once a week, so I would have to go and talk with her and get the report closest to the ARD date. And sometimes it was in print, sometimes she just had to give me the information. So now I can go into the wound reports and I can put in my resident's name, put in the ARD date, and generate a section M for the MDS 3.0. I find this really time saving, and I have all the information I need to fill in all my slots. If I have any questions, she's available, and it makes no difference when her reports are complete because she is ongoingly updating them. I think it definitely has a positive effect on the MDS staff and the clinical staff. We're able to get this as soon as the resident has been seen by our wound nurse, because she enters this in the computer right now at the time that she sees the resident. And we no longer have to wait for the typed up weekly wound reports.
Sure.
So this has really helped all of us. And I know that many committees in our facility would benefit from this information, such as the weight committees and not only the MDS department. So I think this is really, to have this right when the wound nurse puts it in is good. And I think it does benefit both clinical and the MDS staff. Some of the new challenges of the MDS 3.0 is the different staging of the wounds. And it's nice to be able to stage them as they really are. Before, we had to stage anything unstageable or suspected deep tissue injury as a 4, and it made us look like the facilities had a lot of 4s, which we really don't. So now we can put those all in their own categories. We can address them. There's place for measurements. We can track whether it gets worse in the facility. And I think all this information is so helpful from one MDS assessment to the other. Plus also, if like you're going from a 14-day to a 30-day, you can still track this if the wound nurse has seen them on a weekly basis, or sometimes even more than a weekly basis. We can pull all this up by the dates. And I think this is really, really going to help, and I'm really excited about using this part of it. Before we had WoundRounds, we would have to go to each chart if we were filling out monthly or even weekly trending and see how these wounds had progressed from week to week, especially if it was something that healed and then maybe a few weeks later it reoccurred. So now we can look at all this, and it takes into all accounts all the different parts of the Braden. And before we just had to go and do that by hand in every chart. I went into some of the other modules and I found there's all kinds of reports that will be beneficial to all of the clinical team, not only the MDS department. How the staging has changed, if it's gotten worse or better, treatments. And that was another thing I liked. I can go in and pull up the treatment and I can see how she's modified it from week to week, and that's important for me also. I think the thing that I just was really so excited about was the time saving, and the fact that when I do a 5-day and then a 14-day, I can go in and I can put in both those ARD dates, and I can look and see how the wound was on the 5-day right there without having to go back to my MDS screen. And I can look at the new 14-day. I can generate those section M sheets, keep them in my files. And then when I do a 30-day, see how things are doing. And for our quarterlies, we can see how if they had an old wound, how it's improved. Did it heal? Did it get worse? Did it come back? So I think this is really exciting. And I was using it a little bit just when we first got it with the 2.0. But of course, with the 3.0, I just love this new assessment. I think we find out so much about the resident, and I'm so glad that the WoundRounds incorporated now the 3.0, because that really helps us with our resident care, know which way we're going for these wounds. I do think it will have an impact on our reimbursement. I know on our Medicare residents, this way I can track down all the different wounds. because different people count different ways. I always take what my wound nurse has put in. If I have any questions, she's right there. And I feel that this is very accurate. And then with our public aid residents too, I think that this will be beneficial for all the care that we give that we don't take credit for. I think this is an electronic age, and we all have to move into that age, and the fact that some of the stuff will be able to be linked is fantastic. I'm just happy that I can generate an MDS sheet for Section M that matches exactly the answers that I need to put in, and not some of them are there and some of them aren't. Right. I really like that.